So everything in your readings this week comes down to symbolic interactionism. That's the big main idea this week. So we'll need to talk about what that is. Okay. So symbolic interactionism, if you had to give me your best definition based on the talk we had about all 4 theories in the beginning of the semester, what would you say?
Just what we do to find ourselves.
Okay, yeah, kind of. So if we take keywords, it's basically that in society we interact through symbols. Examples we've used before would be like
Handshakes.
a norm is, handshakes are a greeting. Let's go over this though. When is a handshake an appropriate greeting?
Inappropriate?
Appropriate. So like when is it appropriate to shake hands?
When you're meeting someone for the first time.
Greeting for first time. Or I would say always in professional situations. What if I asked what the appropriate greeting was for a friend?
Probably a hug.
Yep. And what about greeting a boyfriend or a husband?
A kiss.
Mm-hmm. Could we switch any of these up?
For a greeting for. Probably maybe the hug, kind of.
Like you
For
could
the-
hug
well,
your significant other
yeah.
for sure.
But a handshake for greeting for the first time, I guess you could do a hug, but not usually.
It wouldn't really be appropriate in
Yeah,
professional
yeah.
settings for sure. Just like a kiss definitely wouldn't be appropriate even to greet a friend unless you're Italian.
That's true.
You know, but in our cultural norms, that's not an appropriate response.
Okay, yeah.
So, when we say appropriate, we're also saying these are the norms. This is the norm to greet somebody for the first time or in a professional situation. This is the norm to greet a friend. So, these are symbols. They're actions, but they're also symbols. Why? Because we had to create the handshake as a symbol for the greeting for first time. We had to create the hug. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what we do in order to understand, this is the appropriate for that, you were able to just do that, which means sometime in your life you have done something called dramaturgical analysis. If I told you this was the key word, what do you think the best definition would be?
Over exaggerating? Or
Kind of. Think drama more not in the sense of like, oh, she's so full of drama. Think more as in like the theater or.
upfront about stuff?
Okay. Shakespeare once said, life is a play and we're all just actors on the stage. Something like that. I'm not directly quoting.
Okay.
But that is where
Yeah, I've
this,
heard that.
that is where this comes from. Being that we assess society around us, so we analyze it, and we act accordingly. To the norms of a given situation in society. So let's think of a few situations in which we might need to do that. let's say we're going to a party for the first time at this person's house. So we don't know if it's going to be like, oh, board games and movies, or if it's going to be like dancing and, things like that. So the first thing we're going to do when we get there is we're going to perform a dramaturgical analysis. How do we act in this situation? What is normal in this situation so that you don't stand out? Because humans don't like standing out.
No.
Funny thing. But, so let's say the party is quiet. It's like board games and some snacks and maybe some light music playing in the background. How are you going, what are some ways that you're going to act?
I don't.
If you went to a quiet party, are you going to be loud and obnoxious?
No, I'm probably going to be more soft-spoken.
Soft-spoken, good. At a party where there's a lot of dancing, you usually don't pay attention to the snack table very much. But if it's a quiet party and food's like half the party, are you going to be more likely to have some appetizers?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so those are some examples. So you just did an analysis of how to behave at a quiet party because you figured out this is what's normal to do at this party. If I was the opposite of those things, I would be losing face, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a sec. So what if the party was dancing and strobe lights and just crazy loud music? What were some examples of the way you would behave?
I want to say more interactive, just more upbeat, more
upbeat?
hyper.
Yeah, hyper. You'd be dancing. Yeah, good. Again, dramaturgical analysis of a loud party is to do these things to act accordingly. Now that doesn't mean that you're being fake, because I don't know about you, but I'm somebody that could go to both of these parties and still have a good time.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I'm being fake, it just means I'm acting according to the situation.
Yeah. Okay, so when we're doing dramaturgical, that's a mouthful. So we're just like analyzing or like judging on the fact of like, say we're in a library on the second floor, you're gonna act quiet and more to yourself, rather than on the third floor you're gonna socialize, and so we're just like we take a scene and we analyze it, right?
Essentially, yes.
Okay.
Yep. Business meeting. Is the guy interviewing you more funny so you can joke around, or is he like super strict so you need to be serious and
It's like we're
professional?
taking notes, kind of thing.
Yeah, like in your head of how to act. And we do this in society because we like to fit in. We like to interact according to how we think we should.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so any questions on that?
No.